So today we have Ankush Pahuja, who owns a marketing agency, who also do print on demand business. Who is also a e-commerce consultancy, a social media expert, a brand building expert, and who have already done an ad spend of more than 4 crore and did a revenue of more than 10 crore for his clients. So welcome Ankush to the print on demand show and welcome.
Hey Vinu, how are you doing? Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me on your show. We've been like postponing this for a while, and
Mhm.
I like this was the day when we had to just like come and talk. Okay, we fixed it. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm really
Mhm.
excited for it.
Yeah. So thank you for asking. I'm doing good. So how are you doing? So let me know.
Doing well. Just before this call, I was like talking to a new brand. So we were just talking about the revenue, how we can help them improve. And that's how my whole week goes. Like we're talking to different brands. We have our own
Mm.
clients whom we are helping. We face issues. We achieve targets. We achieve milestones. So this is what usually keeps on happening throughout the week for me personally.
All right, great. So talk about Ankush. Let's talk about how you came to know about Facebook ads. How you step into social media marketing, all this stuff. So how was your journey? What is your actual story?
So, see, journey has been going on for like since I was in college almost. It's been, I think, 4, 5 years back, maybe 6 years back. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like first or second year student back then. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just been 2 years since I started working full time. But back then, I joined, like, my interest was always there in digital marketing since I was in maybe in 12th. So, almost eight,
Mm-hmm.
7, 8 years back. I don't remember the exact dates, but yeah, 5, 6 years, 7 years. So I always had an interest towards marketing, and digital marketing was new and upcoming, you can say. So then I was like, okay, I want to maybe get into this, and I joined like during my graduation, I was pursuing marketing only, and then I joined a digital marketing institute wherein we learned the basis of marketing. We learned whatever basic things are there: SEO, search engine marketing, social media, PPC. We were learning all that. But in that one session, like my mentor there told me, ki, like if you want, like he wrote the term drop shipping on his board and told me you all can research about it and talk to me
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow if you like it. He never talked to us the next day, but I like wrote it on my notebook, and I started researching about it on the same night. And when I was researching, I kept on researching more and more, and there was so much content available that I felt like, okay, even I want to do dropshipping because you can make money online. And each
Mm-hmm.
and every one of us has searched the term how to make money
Yeah,
online for sure, all of us.
exactly. Yeah.
So even people who are watching this video, you must have searched about it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was introduced to dropshipping. I wanted to do it. I was introduced to multiple courses. I never bought it because I was in college, so I had less budget. But my journey started with joining a social media marketing agency as an intern. I learned a lot there, and I kept on working in the social media marketing space for different brands all around the globe. So I kept on working. I kept on working. That was like during my college, I was interning. At the same time, I revolved my whole life around marketing. So, for example, even offline events that people had, I went for offline events. I went for offline marketing promotions. I went for online. Of course, I was involved in the social media marketing agency, so I was doing social media work. I was writing content. I was helping with the creative part. I was also the manager, and I kept on learning. When my college got over, I also like during my college years only, I decided, okay, I want to get into print on demand, and I wanted to do it
Mm-hmm.
in India itself, but got to know that margins are low. And I still have 10,000 rupees worth of stock in India right now, if anyone wants to buy. But my money got wasted. That was all the money I had, and I wasted it on buying stock.
Mm-hmm.
So in India, but later on, like when I started with my job, I was working again in a marketing agency only, and I limited myself in this field. And I knew, okay, I wanted to do e-commerce, but e-commerce requires budgets, and I didn't have any budgets to begin with. That's why I went with a job, and we were working with different brands all across India. If I'm correct, then the current number of brands that I work with in total, it's over 120 to 150 plus brands.
Wow.
So
Mm.
So that includes hospitality, real estate, education, travel, uh, every type of niche that you can think of. I think I have worked. Even in the e-com, now we're just working with e-commerce clients. Even in the e-commerce niche, we've worked with at least 10 to 20 plus niches, if I'm correct. And
Mhm.
we've in overall we work with 35 to 40 plus brands just in e-commerce. So, and of course we also own our own brands as well, so we're working on
Mhm.
them, though those our current brands are like still work in progress, but yeah, we're
Mhm.
growing them. So about like then we got introduced to e-commerce. Then of course we both have the same mentor, Nishkash Sharma.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Bharadwaj. I got to know about them through a random offline event in based out of Delhi.
Mhm.
And like I got to know that print on demand is great. I started it. It took me a lot of time to start it, 6 months. Like
Mhm.
even if I achieved success, but it took me eight months of preparation to achieve that amount of success which I had in POD.
Mhm.
So people
Mhm.
think, okay, you're gonna watch the course, you're gonna follow it, and you're gonna have success. It's not like that. It's always it takes time. It needs patience. You will have to work on it for like months and maybe even years just to achieve what you want to. So it's
Mhm.
like it's always going, and whether it's a brand, whether it's POD, whether it's drop shipping, you'll have to work for months and maybe years just to get some sort of results out of it. So,
Mhm.
because you will face issues, you will face problems, and you'll have to learn to actually resolve each and every problem whenever you face them. So,
Mhm.
whether it's about ad account bans, whether it's about Facebook, and whatever it is.
Okay, great. Okay.
So, yeah.
So, what are the issues you face, when you are starting with print on demand? What are the first issue you faced?
With print on demand, I think my first issue was with the execution part because
Mhm.
I pretty much delayed it for like 8 months. But I was
Mhm.
preparing, though I left it in between, then I started it again. So execution is, in my opinion, the first main issue. Budgets was my second issue because print on demand requires higher budget,
Mhm.
and you need to have some sort of money coming in just to ensure that I was doing a job, but it was still tough because my salary, I remember back then, was 25,000 a month, and
Mhm.
I had extra money of maybe 13,000. So I
Mhm.
started print on demand with just 13,486 rupees a month as as my cash flow, you can say. I still remember
Okay.
that. Fortunately, I became profitable in the first month itself. So whatever money I
Mhm.
was getting, I was just putting it all back in. So
Mhm.
so yeah, so I think budget is important and
Mhm.
execution is one of the most important. And a
Exactly.
lot of people are not resourceful. So,
Mhm.
and majority of people like face this issue, but you need to be resourceful. You need to ask questions. You need to be consistent. You need to go for Q&As. You need to connect with others. Majority of my issues were not resolved by me, but by talking
Mhm.
to other people. So,
Exactly.
so you
Networking with other
like
members, yeah.
yeah.
Networking with
So
other members. That is really,
networking
really
is
powerful.
important.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. You get opportunities.
Mm.
You connect with people. You get ideas. Just days back, you remember we were making a whole PDF for SMS campaigns.
Yeah,
So we all
exactly.
had it ready with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, so I know that you are so good with like solving ad account bans. Like building a sustainability in advertising. So, how do you build systems to tackle ad account bans? Because Facebook has been changing day by day. So, how do you deal this? Like these issues.
In the start, I used to face these issues aggressively, and over a period of time, because I used to raise so much of chat support, and
Mm-hmm.
and like I remember when I was in the start of my career, I used to talk to Facebook so much that there were sometimes glitches with Facebook, and officially they used to fix it because I told them. And I used to
Mm-hmm.
maybe collect data from 50 to 60 agencies just to prove my point that okay, you're not doing right with my accounts. So
Mm-hmm.
so I used to connect with other agencies and they used to send me proofs. I used to send my proofs. I used to record everything, accumulate all the data. It used to take me 4 hours just to prove Facebook that you are wrong and I'm right. So I
Okay.
remember those days as well. So
Mm-hmm.
see, Facebook will always have glitches, and to have a sustainable model, you need to have a business which is not doing anything ethically wrong in the first place. You can't be area. Rather not do anything wrong than take risk with Facebook. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I follow this approach. I don't take risk with Facebook until and unless I'm ready to maybe lose my account if that works with me. Okay.
Okay.
So never take any risk. Follow all community standards, and to make it more sustainable, of course, there are some ad account structures that you need to follow, and you can't scale aggressively. You can't put in budgets aggressively. You need to start slow and make it more consistent over a period of 2 to 6 months. If your business is consistent with zero bans, maybe then you can start scaling aggressively. But at least for the first or maybe second month, you should not be risky. You should not scale, and you should follow all community standards. And if I talk just in terms of POD, you don't go with niches which are risky. Like even if they are profitable, if they are risky, then don't go with that. And if I talk in terms of overall brand, then the goal should be to keep it consistent in terms of revenue and your spends. Keep it consistent and don't scale it too fast too soon. So
Great. Okay. All right. So you talk about the infrastructure we can build to safeguard the, like the all the ad account, advertising assets like pixels. So how do you deal with that? So how do you build the infrastructures?
see, my first rule is to, like, we have multiple rules, or we can say we have multiple structures. But to safeguard it, first is, of course, you need to understand what rules you need to follow for a specific brand, whether it's maybe it's apparel, whether it's cosmetics, or whether it's a niche on print on demand, like maybe maybe patriotic niche, maybe the veteran niche, whatever it is. You need to understand what rules you need to stay under, so that you're
Mm-hmm.
not you don't get into the radar of Facebook. Remember that. You need
Mm-hmm.
to write it down, whatever you need to follow. For example, in case of cosmetic, you can't show comparison of how your product made someone beautiful, maybe, or how it
Mm-hmm.
makes someone look better. You can't show that comparison on Facebook. They will ban you immediately, or they will disapprove your ad.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing. Second is rules. If I say, my number one rule is don't play with the ad account a lot. Okay, don't like check it all the time. Don't keep it open throughout the day. Don't keep on making changes. Like with print on demand, I follow this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, set a timing, maybe 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. in during the day. Work on your ad account, make changes whatever you want to, and don't even see it throughout the day. Just by making this one change, probably you'll reduce the chances of getting banned by over 80%. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it personally. I've experienced it. That's why I'm telling. I've shared this thing with a lot of people. Don't touch your ad account a lot. Just close it,
Mm-hmm.
because what a lot of people do is they keep it open, they keep it reloading until they get a sale, and they keep on
Got it. Got
reloading,
it.
they keep on clicking, or they keep on like closing or editing something or the other. But
Mm-hmm.
just forget about it and let it do its job. Okay, you don't want to be so even Facebook would consider you spammy if you're gonna keep your computer on, or maybe your ad account on for like 24 hours, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
12 hours or 10 hours, like it's open all the time, you're loading again and again. So that
Mm-hmm.
causes issues. So this behavior, you need to have a good behavior with Facebook. You need to follow all the rules by Facebook. And if I talk in terms of a structure, ensure that all your business, like if you have maybe 5 businesses, though 90% of people won't be having 5 businesses, they usually have one business. So
Mm-hmm.
one or two business. So in case of if you have one or two businesses, then you can like dedicate Facebook account as per business. For example, your business, like you have two businesses, we know.
Mm-hmm.
So you can dedicate one Facebook account for just print on demand, one
Mm-hmm.
Facebook account some of your family member to some other business. Don't mix
Okay.
them up. And
Mm-hmm.
one more important factor is give admin access of your business manager or Facebook assets. Give admin access to other family members and friends, as many as possible. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it shows to Facebook that your business is more legit,
Mm-hmm.
because you have so many people in your business. So for example, I have an account right now. I recently, it's my new Facebook account, and
Mm-hmm.
I've like added my whole team there in the business manager. So even if my profile is under the radar of Facebook, even if
Mm-hmm.
like for it won't get banned or whatever, let's hope that doesn't happen. Though
Okay.
my profile just got approved yesterday only, it was
Mm-hmm.
restricted 2 days back. But
Mm-hmm.
I am a team added there. So even if what if my profile goes, or anything happens to my profile, my team has all the access to my Facebook assets. So
Okay.
you need to ensure you have such backups prepared, and there are
Mm-hmm.
multiple ways to create backup. For example, you can have a one core BM. and you can have another BM in some other Facebook account, like
Mhm.
another BM in some other Facebook account that has the ad account. One BM, one core Facebook account which has a page and maybe pixel, but it doesn't have an ad account. Okay,
Mhm.
so you can like maybe use this second ad account which for running ads and all, and you have one core ad account which has your page or maybe the pixel. This is the ad account structure which
Mhm.
those brands follow who are like into really high budgets or something. So they have
Mhm.
their core they have their core business manager, and they have extra business managers with through different Facebook accounts,
Mhm.
from whom you can run your ads through. And of course, there
Okay.
are multiple ways to buy BMs and everything, but you should not follow them.
So basically, the simplest way is to maintain a core BM, share all these aside like pixels, page, ad account to a separate BM, and it could be someone else profile, right? And running ads from the other profile, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is the next set of issues you faced through this print on demand journey? So have you faced PayPal holding the money issue, like with scale when starting when you finally got a winning designs and when you start scaling things up, this is the what do you say, second most painful thing happened, PayPal holding the money. So have you faced that particular issue?
Yeah, so PayPal holding the money was like my major issue. And like last year itself, when I started, I became like profitable. I was earning money in the first month. I was like making more and more money the second month. It was going with a good flow, and PayPal
Mm-hmm.
started holding my money. I reached the
Mm-hmm.
point wherein PayPal held around maybe 3 to 5 lakh rupees of mine, and the worst list had maybe 50, 60 thousand in my pocket. I had a debt
Mm-hmm.
of over 4 lakh rupees on my credit card, and PayPal told me, "Okay, I'm gonna hold your money." And orders started like orders were not stopping. So and of course my ads were running. So I
Okay.
had no money. I reached the situation wherein I had to like switch everything off until unless I clear that credit card first, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, and I had to get money from PayPal. I was
Yeah.
desperate for that. So this is like one of the worst situations because your business is profitable, you have orders, you have everything going right. The only
Mhm.
issue is PayPal is holding your money and they are not giving it back. Everything
Mhm.
is good. There is no issue overall in your business. You've done everything whatever the way it should happen. You are perfect there, and still like if PayPal, because see, PayPal holds your money, and if you have to stop your business, then you will lose the flow. When you
Mhm.
lose the flow, then even your sales will drop eventually. So you can't
Mhm.
get like it's not easy to get your sales back the way when it used to if you close all your accounts.
Mhm.
So yeah, but that's been an issue.
So
And
basically, like when we give the tracking information to PayPal, like they release a fund, like slowly. It happened to me as well. So yeah, so when I got a winning designs, like when we start to scale, very when we start to scale things up, when we are profitable, when we are really profitable, that particular time, these things happen. I think not, like most probably in the initial times, like in the initial time of like let's say 1 to 6 months. These are the average I see. Like within
mm,
this period, like we used to face. Other than that, like it become constant. So now it is more constant with me. I haven't faced after that. Like till last July, like I was facing the same issue. So yeah. So the thing is like we have this winning designs, we have these profits coming, and we need to stop the business. This is really really painful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So your
Mm.
first 6 months are like really critical on every
Mm.
aspect, whether it's your
Mm.
business manager, whether it's your PayPal. After
Mm.
that, things start becoming much more stable. Even I've observed that this year. But last year, like I faced so many issues, I pretty much had to close everything down
Mm.
just to sort things out.
Mm.
But this year, fortunately, like because I have our old PayPal accounts, and I had to create new PayPal accounts,
Mm.
so just to sort those issues out. But
Okay.
yeah, after a certain period of time, things start getting better.
Mm. Okay, so what is a strategy when come like in Facebook ads when come to like testing with POD designs?
See, my strategies, like with POD, the overall budget I assume is we like if you need to test a design, go with a campaign that and don't spend over $40 to $60 on a certain design. Like test 3 to 5 separate ad sets with single
Mm.
interest or some sort of preferably single interest, and like don't overcomplicate things there, with relevant single interest and two to three ads per ad set. So, but my goal is never spend more than $40 to $60 on a specific design, and I think that's the way to go. I don't prefer to test a lot. I prefer to research more over testing. So research more. If you research more and if you become very specific with the type of designs that you want to launch, then your success rate will increase. So I'll be honest, out of my first 10 designs I ever tested, three of them became winners. And I scaled it to like 30-40 thousand dollars itself. So you have a very high success rate. So I remember my second design was a winner, which I tested. My fifth design was a winner, which I tested. My 10 design was also a winner.
Okay, got it, got it. So how do you approach this? Like, how do you shortlist one designs? Okay, this is the designs which is gonna make the a lot of money. So how do you approach that design research part?
So it's based on intensive research. It's not like, okay, there is no specific strategy to it. So the first time I did it, I remember I researched over 300 plus winner designs from
Mm-hmm.
Power Adspa and of course Pinterest and other resources that I could find competitors. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
very deep research method, and
Mm-hmm.
it requires you to sort designs on the basis of niches, all the niches that you can sort designs out of. Possibly research over 300 winners. Out of
Mm-hmm.
those winners, you'll have to select over 10 to 20 winners. So out of 300 designs, you need to sort the niches first. Which niches are good for me? For example, maybe the birthday niche is not good because Facebook may ban me. So
Mm-hmm.
I removed that from my list. So first you need to remove the niches that you have found. Select a
Mm-hmm.
few niches that you want to go with. In those niches, you've found maybe 10 to 20 designs each. You have over 200 designs left. In
Mm-hmm.
out of those 200 to maybe 300 designs, sort 10 to 20 designs which when you read you feel like, okay, this is gonna sell. Like
Mm-hmm.
until unless you think this is gonna sell, don't
Mm-hmm.
test it. I prefer to
Okay.
not test any design until unless I'm sure, okay, this is going to sell, because I should feel strong enough about how the quote is, about how I feel emotionally. And if I get that wow factor by reading it, okay, by reading the design itself, if I feel, okay, I'm gonna buy it, then that's a good chance that's a winner. So
Exactly.
that's how you increase your chances. You need to sort, you like, even after sorting winners, you need to sort
Mm-hmm.
winners out of winners. This is how
Mm-hmm.
deep
Great,
you
great.
need to go.
Great, great, great. Okay. So let's talk about like scaling. What is your scaling strategy behind like when you find a winning design, how do you scale, and when do you actually scale?
So in case of brands, I'll mention the best scaling
Mm-hmm.
strategy that are working. In case of print on demand, I'll tell you what's working currently, because I'm not scaling my print on demand business to a major extent. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not my focus area. I want to help brands and I want to build my own brands. Print on
Mm-hmm.
demand is something which is going extra for me. So it's like
Okay.
my side business. I keep it running, and I I,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, it's not my main business.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So with print on demand, I'll mention the best strategies. The best one is, of course, you can scale it using putting in different interest.
Mm-hmm.
Even in print on demand, there are two types: high ticket POD and low ticket POD. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you are maybe just selling t-shirts and mugs, then you probably are running $5 ad sets, or maybe maximum $10 ad sets, or $6,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the number is.
Mm-hmm.
So in case of print on demand, your first goal should be to test, to find as many working interests as possible, to
Mm-hmm.
find as many working single interest as an audience as possible. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can run different ad sets with all of them with single interest, and over and above that, you need to find as many as possible, like diversified. Then once
Mm-hmm.
you find your best performing single interest, you can scale that single interest by duplicating it, of course, to maybe a higher budget, maybe
Mm-hmm.
duplicating it to, you can say, double it, but or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can double it and increase it by 50%. What I personally do in this case, I don't usually reveal this so
Okay.
easily, but this is a very good working strategy. If you have a single interest which is really scalable, duplicate
Mm-hmm.
it into a CBO and duplicate it
Mm-hmm.
for like 5 times. Now you are diversifying that single interest into 5 different assets in a CBO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
because you have diversified the working interest in 5 different assets, now Facebook will target different type of buckets through each and every asset, and it is under a CBO of five
Mm-hmm.
times your acquisition cost. So, for example, you are acquiring a customer for $5 or maybe $6. you need to put at least 5 times your budget of CBO should be at least 5 times your acquisition cost. So $5 into 5 is $25, and you have five assets there. If your acquisition cost was around $6, then prefer to have a budget of maybe $30. You can also keep it $25. That also works well. But what we do for brands is usually 5 times. I tried that for POD as well, and touchwood, it's working good for now. So,
Okay, got it, got it. So
so this is a
basically,
very
when you find a winning ad set, so you just transfer to a CBA campaign and duplicate it 5 times, and like set a budget of, let's say if you have five ad set, you need to double it. You need to be put $5 per ad set, so it will be $25 per ad set. So
yes.
25 per campaign. Okay, so that is something new to me. Okay, I have seen this. Like I have seen somewhere. I have spied on I've been to Justin Wool's, like that group. So he was sharing his scaling strategy. Then there I found something like this, so he do it in the ABO itself, ad set level itself. So when you find a winning ad set, he just
Hmm.
duplicate to for I think 4 times, same budget, everything, just duplicate it 4 times, same interest, everything remains the same. Just that's a ad set. You need to duplicate it. So turning it into a CBO, that is something new to me. All right. Okay.
So,
So.
like there is
Mm,
not a single scaling strategy relevant for everyone. Every ad
mm,
account has their own scaling strategy unique to them. There are
mm,
ad accounts in which CBOs won't work at all, and there are ad
mm,
accounts in which CBOs work really well, over and above even ABOs. So,
mm,
so you need to find what is relevant for your ad account. Like you'll have to test multiple scaling strategies, whether the one I talked about or whether it's about duplicating your ad set and keep on increasing budget at certain number. In some cases, what
mm,
people do is they have maybe a CBO of $40. They just edit it to $100, and still the ad account is performing well. It depends on your
mm,
product. It depends on the scalability of your product. It also
mm,
depends on your niche. It depends also on your ad account behavior, because I know someone personally right now who just
mm,
edited his CBO from $50 to $100, and still it was profitable.
mm.
And he,
Okay.
if it stops performing, then he reduces to maybe $50 back. If $50 isn't working, he reduces it to $25, and it becomes profitable. It's all about
Mm,
like what works in your account, and you'll have to
mm.
test things through. That's the only
Yeah.
way.
Basically, you need to test. We need to test, like us number of, strategies, and identify what is actually
Mm.
working, then sticking up with that. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So since you are into like social media expert, like you are helping brands to build their, Instagram presence, or basically the online presence. So how do you, approach the organic traffic for organic growth for a print on demand brand?
That's a very difficult question, to be honest,
Mm,
because organic is very difficult in terms of getting growth.
mm-hmm,
But I'll share the working strategies currently, which I know a few people are implementing, and I have some friends who are implementing it. So
mm-hmm,
I'm seeing some brands grow through organic as well.
mm-hmm,
So the first best way is in your niche, can you grow a specific type of a theme page, for example, or on maybe through Instagram Reels or TikTok? Because
mm-hmm,
POD, if you are doing in US, then you can also focus on TikTok. Maybe you are in the family niche, then you can maybe make a TikTok account, start putting in videos in the family niche itself,
mm-hmm,
quotes, videos, good content which family members would like to read and share
mm-hmm,
with each other. Now you can start promoting your store. Second way is, of course, then you have Instagram Reels. Like this, these two are the only way to grow organically through social media
mm-hmm,
platforms. Other than that, you can't get sales organically. I'll also
mm-hmm,
mention this third strategy, but the second one is, of course, like put content on Instagram Reels just the way you do it for on TikTok. Put a lot of content, gain a lot of followers, and out of that, you are gonna start like maybe
mm-hmm,
making a good amount of revenue if your followers are relevant. So this
mm-hmm,
is this is really applicable in case of India, putting out content and people start getting sales. I know brands which are doing maybe 2 lakhs a month just by
mm-hmm,
putting out right type of Instagram reels too. So you need to be like active on social media 6 hours a day as well if needed to be. But
mm-hmm,
you can make money through this method. Um, the third one is of course like it's a very weird method, but you can maybe ping people, message people who are relevant to your audience and ask them to buy. But that's like a method which I don't recommend
mm-hmm.
anyone. So
Mm,
there
bulk
are some
DMing,
weird,
yeah. Bulk
yeah,
DMing,
there are some
right?
weird methods.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. I have
you
seen
want
that.
to do that.
I have seen that. A lot of people are doing that. Yeah, but it is like very time consuming. But you know, like to what do you say? Like if you want to get success quickly with the print on demand, it's the best way is to go with the like the paid advertising. That is the best way, best and the easiest way. So
Hmm.
so, do you recommend like showing your online presence, let's say in Instagram or on TikTok? So, what is your approach for a print-on-demand store to showcase their brand kind of stuff in these platforms?
Mm, um, like to showcase the brand. What did you say?
So, to showcase the brand kind of stuff with a print-on-demand, okay, print-on-demand business. So, what is the strategy they need to bring, like they need to show?
Okay. So majorly, if anyone wants to like show their print on demand business as a brand, then you'll of course have to act as a brand. You're a business, you are not a maybe drop shipping business, or you're not a
Mm-hmm.
print on demand, typical print on demand business. You need to communicate with the customers through social media,
Mm-hmm.
because people will follow you on your Facebook page. People will also follow you on your Instagram page if you have connected it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to put out content on daily basis. You'll have to, of course, that's like building a theme page only. You'll have to
Mm-hmm.
put out content and act as a brand. Ask reviews about your orders, ask reviews about your customers. Run, of course, running ads is going to be one thing wherein you are acquiring customers. That's one part. But if you want to
Mm-hmm.
act as a brand, then you'll also have to optimize your website so that it speaks out to your customers. If it's
Mhm,
the mom needs, then you'll have to maybe make your whole website layout in a structure wherein you are talking to moms itself. Your
mhm,
content on Instagram, TikTok should be related to moms. So so of course your products are one thing, but the focus is on mothers and not your products on your social media or on the website. And of course
mhm,
on the website you need to promote products, of course. But
mhm,
and during ads it's going to be products only. But you'll have to build out a whole social media communication channel which revolves around your niche. I'm not doing it
mhm,
for my own print on demand business. If I would be doing that, this is the method I would have followed. I'm not doing it
mhm.
currently, but I'm of course doing it for my brand. So that's why I'm saying it, that you need to
Okay.
make it more brandable, because we meet a lot of brands who are into drop shipping, and we
Mhm,
convert them to branding because that's where the real money is. So
mhm.
if you can,
Basically, from a general store to a brand store, right?
yeah, that's a very important transition if you want to
Mhm,
do your business long term.
mhm. Okay. So, what when should someone transition like do make the transition from a general store to a brand store?
See, the most important factor is sales. Okay, you should, of
Mhm,
course, if you can transition immediately, you should. While
mhm,
providing value is never bad to your customer. Providing value, putting out content, maybe through
mhm,
emails if you are doing it, it's never bad. You can transition immediately. But a good part would be if you have some consistent sales coming in every month, and you know, okay,
mhm,
I can scale this business to maybe something big in the near future. Then I think it's the time you consider it. Before that, first understand the basic processes that are required, that are
mhm,
essential for you to sustain the business.
mhm,
And I think more important compared to you also focusing on that. What if you don't know how to generate sales? What if you don't know how to get the right type of design? What if you don't know how to make the right design? You don't know how to
mhm,
research. You don't have a good website. Build a great
mhm,
foundation so that you can generate sales, maybe even become good amount of profit, like maybe reach profitability, and then
mhm.
start with the whole branding process. But
Okay.
it shouldn't be like, okay, I'll do the branding and then I'll maybe work on these other aspects. Other aspects are important because they are the core foundation of your business. And over and
Mhm,
above that, then you can go with branding. Of course, branding is something you should focus from the start. But in case
mhm,
of print on demand, I would recommend fix your business first and then focus on branding. But if you are maybe launching a brand, or you are who are just into e-commerce generally, then go in a branded way itself. Build a niche,
mhm,
build your store in a branded way. But if you are
mhm.
in print on demand, then I don't think that's needed. You need to focus on your core foundation of a business first.
Okay. So the final question. So how do you approach the game of like uplifting the profitability?
See, I'll talk a lot in terms of branding, but I'll also
Mm-hmm.
share what my opinion is on print on demand.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of branding, how we do is we actually make combination of products through which
Mm-hmm.
we can increase the average order value. So the
Mhm.
goal with e-commerce is if you can increase your average order value, that's how
Mhm.
you'll make more and more money through the same acquisition cost. Your acquisition cost will be the same, but you have more and more money coming in. In case of print on demand, what I've done for my business is I've created a whole line of products through, like, I have, of course, we have some winners, and we can
Mhm.
create more products which are relevant to our winners. And if a customer sees those products, they're gonna buy. So you need to have more and more products around your winners, which a customer is more likely to buy.
Mhm.
In case of brands itself, that's also relevant for brands. You need to create categories, subcategories, and products which a customer is likely to buy if they see it on your website. And of course, there are
Mhm.
ways to increase your profitability. One is doing email marketing the right way. Second is doing SMS marketing the right way. You need to work on a website in a way that customers are actually, whenever they reach your website, they are trying to buy more than. So you need to work on
Mhm.
your products and categories a lot, and only a few brands are able to pull this off in a really
Mhm.
nice way. Because I know the such type of brands, because if you visit them, you are there to buy one thing, but you are likely to buy five more things if you just see their website. So
Mhm.
you need to reach that level, and I think that's the best way. If I talk in terms of print on demand, and even in case of a branded store, that's gonna be same. Email marketing, SMS marketing, your whole website structure, product structure, your offers, upselling, giving bulk discount, putting out the right offers, retargeting the
Mhm.
same customers. Then maybe of course, then like in terms of Facebook, you can create local likes and maybe have data, bulk SMS them, bulk email them. So there are multiple ways to increase profitability, but the main goal should be to increase AOV and lifetime customer value. These are the two
Mhm.
terms I want like everyone to focus on.
Exactly. Hmm. All right. So it was a nice talking to you, Ankush, and there are you have shared a lot of value. Lot of value means like I think like one of the recent mastermind we attended. I think we have shared everything we learned in that particular thing, right? Like
Mhm.
back increasing the back end revenue, increasing the front end revenue. Great, great, great. So what I want all of you who is listening to this podcast, I want if you were looking to build a brand, you can reach out to Ankush. So his Instagram ID is marketing underscore wala. Like I'll be putting the mentioning his Instagram handle in the description. So thank you so much, Ankush, for being the part of this print on demand show, and I wish you all the success, and thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, happy to be a part of it. I had a great time. And
Mm-hmm.
and of course we need to work on our businesses. I'll have a separate discussion with you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of course. And e-commerce is something we keep on doing. So yes,
Yeah.
all the best to everyone who listened to this podcast and hope they all
Mhm.
liked it.
All right. Thank you so much, and that's the end of this episode. I'm gonna catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye everyone.